These might be the most controversial mechanical watch complications in haute horlogerie history. Tourbillon watches can cost over $1 million, yet they could represent the most overpriced luxury items ever created. Today we are exploring whether these mesmerizing spinning cages represent the pinnacle of horological artistry or whether they are the biggest scam in luxury goods. The tourbillon emerged from genuine necessity. Back in 1795, Swiss-French watchmaker Abraham-Louis Breguet faced a real problem. Pocket watches, carried vertically in waistcoat pockets, suffered from gravitational distortion of their delicate hairsprings. Gravity was literally throwing off timekeeping accuracy. Breguet's solution, patented on June 26, 1801, was revolutionary. He mounted the entire escapement and balance wheel in a rotating cage that would theoretically average out gravitational errors as it spun once per minute. For nearly 2 centuries, tourbillons remained the ultimate expression of Swiss-made watchmaking mastery. Between 1801 and 1945, fewer than 1,000 tourbillons were ever made worldwide. Breguet himself only produced 40 between 1796 and 1829. These were not just watches, they were mechanical sculptures crafted by master artisans, often submitted to observatory trials to prove their astronomical precision. Later innovations like Alfred Hellwig's flying tourbillon in 1920 removed the upper bridge for even more dramatic visual effect. But here's where our story takes a dramatic turn. The legendary master watchmaker Philippe Dufour once said something that cuts to the heart of today's controversy. "Your wrist is the tourbillon." With those 4 words, he exposed the fundamental problem with modern tourbillon marketing. Once watches moved from pocket to wrist, the entire premise collapsed. A wristwatch never stays stationary. It is vertical, horizontal, upside down, shaking hands, typing emails, waving at taxis. Gravity attacks from every angle, constantly. In this chaotic environment, a tourbillon does not just lose its advantage, it becomes a liability. The rotating cage adds mechanical complexity, it consumes precious energy, and it introduces more potential failure points. Jean-Pierre Musy, Patek Philippe's technical director, admits the uncomfortable truth. A simple watch with a high oscillating speed and an enormous balance can easily be more accurate than most tourbillons. Modern escapements, advanced materials, and free-sprung balances do a far superior job maintaining accuracy without the theatrical spinning cage. So why do tourbillons command such astronomical prices? Let's examine the numbers that reveal the industry's dirty secrets. Swiss tourbillon complications typically start at $40,000 and routinely exceed $1 million. Patek Philippe's Sky Moon tourbillon costs $2.1 million. Their platinum reference 6301P demands $1.7 million. Vacheron Constantine's Patrimony Traditionnelle minute repeater with tourbillon exceeds $800,000, completing the Holy Trinity's dominance in this ultra-luxury complications segment. Even entry-level Swiss tourbillons from manufacturers like Jaeger-LeCoultre cost between $50,000 and $60,000 new. But here's the smoking gun. Chinese manufacturers have completely shattered this pricing illusion. Tianjin Seagull, now the world's largest mechanical movement producer, offers fully functional tourbillons for under $3,000. Independent watchmaker Thomas Prescher reveals the devastating truth. He says, "Today we have production methods which allow us to produce spare parts in extremely high precision and acceptable quality, so it is already possible to have extremely cheap tourbillons from the Far East for about $250. $250 for a complication that Swiss brands charge $2 million for." The Trump Victory tourbillon scandal perfectly illustrates this pricing manipulation. Industry experts discovered the tourbillon movement costs just under $5,000 when bought in bulk. Add $17,000 to $20,000 for the gold case, a few $1,000s for diamonds, and the total material cost reaches maybe $30,000. Yet this watch retailed for $100,000, a markup of over 300% on already inflated component costs. Fashion expert Derek Guy did not mince words. He said, "This crappy $100,000 watch is a halo product to sell even crappier $500 and $800 non-Swiss steel and gold-plated watches with a cheap automatic movement. They play you as a sucker." Watch expert Ariel Adams labeled them hastily assembled generic products. A Swiss marketing director noted the telltale signs. He said, "When you look at all of them, they scream Chinese-made watch. Those blue screws on the tourbillon cage are a dead giveaway that it was partly made in China. You won't find blue screws on a tourbillon made in Switzerland." The numbers get more damning when we examine production reality. A typical tourbillon mechanism weighs less than 1 gram and contains 40 to 70 components, usually crafted from lightweight aluminum and titanium. The entire tourbillon cage in Gerard Perregaux's vintage 1945 model weighs just 0.3 grams, despite comprising 70 different parts. Hand assembly by master watchmakers represents the largest cost component, requiring 150 to 300 hours depending on complexity. But even accounting for skilled labor at premium rates, the math does not justify million-dollar pricing. The gap between production cost and retail price reveals that buyers are not paying for mechanical complexity, they are paying for brand prestige and artificial scarcity. The auction market tells an even more extreme story. In November 2024, an FP Journey tourbillon sold for $8.36 million, setting the record for most expensive watch by an independent maker. Christie's achieved $5.8 million for a Patek Philippe Sky Moon tourbillon. An Audemars Piguet Gros Piece tourbillon reached $7.7 million. These astronomical figures have nothing to do with horological merit and everything to do with speculation, brand mythology, and collector psychology. The scientific evidence overwhelmingly demonstrates that tourbillons represent a triumph of marketing over functional performance. Quartz watches maintain accuracy to within seconds per month, precision that makes even the finest mechanical tourbillons look primitive. Modern mechanical movements without tourbillons routinely outperform their rotating cage cousins while costing a fraction of the price. Yet tourbillon defenders make compelling arguments about craftsmanship and artistry. The complication remains genuinely difficult to manufacture and regulate. Master watchmaker Thomas Preacher explains that making tourbillons once was the royal art of watchmaking because no series were done and so everything had to be created by hand. The complication serves as proof of mastery. You cannot fake a functioning tourbillon. It either works or exposes your incompetence publicly. For many collectors, owning a tourbillon represents appreciation for mechanical artistry, historical significance, and human achievement rather than pure timekeeping utility. The democratization of tourbillons through Chinese manufacturing has forced the industry to confront uncomfortable realities. The Peacock Witness tourbillon costs $2,299, while offering essentially the same visual spectacle as watches costing 100 times more. The $500 Suges Tourbillon Master versus the $200,000 A. Lang & Sone 1815 Tourbillon Handwerkskunst represents a 400-to-1 price ratio for mechanically equivalent complications. This accessibility explosion has created an existential crisis for luxury brands. If functional tourbillons can be mass-produced affordably, what justifies the extreme premium for Swiss examples? The answer reveals itself in finishing quality, materials, brand heritage, and exclusivity, rather than the complication itself. Swiss-made certification and quality hallmarks like the Geneva Seal or Poinçon de Genève attempt to justify these premiums through regulated craftsmanship standards. Recent developments show the industry adapting to these pressures. Bulgari set a record thickness of 1.85 millimeters with their Ultra Tourbillon, pushing technical boundaries in new directions. Grubel Forsey revolutionized the complication entirely with their double tourbillon 30 degrees and quadruple tourbillon systems, creating multi-axis rotations that actually serve functional purposes. Tag Heuer positioned Swiss tourbillons below $25,000, acknowledging market pressure from affordable alternatives. But perhaps the honest assessment comes from understanding what buyers actually purchase. As one industry insider noted, today the main advantage of the tourbillon no longer lies in increased precision. Instead, the enlightened amateur may delight in the beauty of a brilliant invention, in a chapter of human history, and in the reassuring regularity of a revolutionary process which, 220 years later, continues to bear witness to the human spirit. So are million-dollar tourbillons the biggest scam in history? The answer depends entirely on what you think you are buying. If you want accurate timekeeping, you are being spectacularly overcharged for inferior performance. If you appreciate mechanical artistry, historical significance, and brand prestige, you are paying premium prices for legitimate craftsmanship and exclusivity. The Chinese tourbillon revolution has permanently exposed the vast gap between production costs and luxury pricing. While not technically a scam, the extreme markups reveal an industry built more on perception than performance. Whether that represents value or exploitation depends entirely on what story you choose to believe about those mesmerizing spinning cages.